Greetings, good people. In this video, we're going to be covering everything that happened today at the SADC Summit. What happened today? Everything and thing that happened today, I'm going to be covering it in this video. The SADC Summit, the 44th SADC Summit, took place today, August 17, 2024 in Harare, Zimbabwe, under the theme Promoting Innovation to Unlock Opportunities for Sustainable Economic Growth and Development Towards an Industrialized SADC. The summit is a significant event for the Southern African Development Community SADC, attended by head of states and government from 16 members countries, including South Africa, Namibia, and Tanzania, among many others. So we saw opposition leaders in attendance, and these were Senator Sengezo Tsabangu, Lovemo Maduku, MDCT leader Douglas Monzora, Tapiwa Mashakada, and Harare Mayor Jacob Mafume. Notable absentees from the SADC Summit. The 44th SADC Summit of Head of States and Governments kicked off, and Zambian President Hakainde Hichilema boycotted the SADC Summit. The latest evidence of Zimbabwe's fraught relations with its northern neighbor. He is represented by Foreign Minister Mulambo Haimbe. Yesterday, President Hichilema chaired a meeting of the SADC organ Troika on Politics, Defense and Security Cooperation via video link, opting not to pitch up in Harare. Key developments from the SADC Summit. Leadership transition.
In addition to the Queen, we're also going to hand over the gavel.
Zimbabwe officially took over the chairmanship of SADC, with President Emmerson Mnangagwa assuming the role. The leadership change is seen as pivotal for the regional bloc's direction and policies moving forward. Focus on innovation and economic growth. The summit emphasized the need for innovation as a catalyst for economic development, aiming to address challenges faced by member states and enhance industrialization efforts within the region. Then we saw a congratulatory message from none other than Prophet Madungwe.
Ya ndikona SADC yakumbira wa SADC Summit wa tinotenda makorokoto zvakangonaka ngoti tingatadza kufarira kuti mutungamiri wenyika yedu yeZimbabwe ndiye akulita SADC vachitwa sworn in pa SADC pa weekend papatubata tinotenda Mwari kuti SADC tisita kuitungamirira Zimbabwe akutungamirira kwemutungamiri wedu kutungamirira kwedu vana veZimbabwe.
That was Prophet Madungwe there. Congratulations message to President Emmerson Mnangagwa. Now, Nelson Chamisa took it to x.com to write this message, and he writes, "It is a community of values or a union of vices. As SADC, do we uphold set guidelines and agreed ethical standards? A SADC without standards, values, and principles is irrelevant and outmoded, dead and defunct. And a defunct SADC can't be a trusted custodian of fairness, peace, freedom, justice, and security of the African people. We must turn at SADC News into a community of values and a bastion and institution of the oppressed, not a club of the oppressive and abusive. We have a generational mandate and duty to shift things. We will transform Africa, fellow citizens of Southern Africa. We must shape this world. And then he puts an image of the SADC there. He then puts an image of SADC there. Human rights concerns. The summit occurred amid significant scrutiny of Zimbabwe human rights records, particularly a crackdown on dissent leading up to the event. Reports indicated that over 160 individuals, including opposition members and civil society activists, were arrested since mid-June. Human rights organizations have urged SADC leaders to address these violations, especially as Zimbabwe assumes the chairmanship. Regional scrutiny discussions. Leaders also discussed peace and security issues, particularly focusing on the political situation in the Democratic Republic of Congo and other regional hotspots. The summit aimed to foster collective approach to these challenges. Scrutiny of Zimbabwe's rights records. Zimbabwe's crackdown on dissent and human rights violations in the lead up to the summit drew heavy criticism and overshadowed the event. Over 160 opposition members and activists were arrested since mid-June. Human rights organizations like the United Nations and Human Rights Watch have urged SADC leaders to address these violations, especially as Zimbabwe assumed the SADC chairmanship. They called for the release of detained activists. Tensions during the discussions. The human rights situation was a contentious issue during the summit discussions among SADC members. Several countries, including Tanzania and Angola, have also faced backlash for rights violations. Enough respect to everybody who is watching us live right about now. To those who want to be getting loans up to $100, the link is in the description box below. Big up to everybody who's watching us live. Kundai Muroyiwa, Dario Mangenje, Ziri Seisei, Edward Samakomva, Priscilla Mangwende says, how are you? Ndiminazo mugona wena. Thank you very much for that positive feedback. Fred Makuvise, Moses Mandija, Dario Mangenje, Kudakwashe Manyange, good evening. Priscilla Mangwende, tiriku dzimbikana veduwe asichekuita hapana tongo kuwarira mukati hedu mwari vanoziva. Innocent Ngwenyama says kikiki saka tichaita sei achatonga hake kusvika madhongi amera nyanga ukuwo mukuru vanenge vachingoparidza havo. Regai tione kuti mwari vakarongei neZimbabwe. That is Innocent Ngwenyama there. Anzi zvadhakwa izvi naHerbert Chibaya and Tombi Zodwa. Good evening, enough respect. Thank you very much for that message there. Hi, how are you feeling? I'm feeling a little bit better. That is Richard Kadondo. G Mahove Gondo. Ini ndakonewa kudya na 12 maskati pandaona achigadzwa. Eric Mukwamiri. Thank you very much for that positive feedback there. So tomorrow these guys are gonna be visiting the Geopomona West management site. They're going to be visiting the Geopomona West Management Site there. So far we're seeing this. The SADC, the Zimbabwe government missed the villas deadline. The villas, the much publicized villas were not complete. They didn't meet the deadline. They didn't meet the deadline. They are not yet complete. This is what happened then. Now, on the issue of human rights violations, we're seeing that Zimbabwe is not alone, but rather we also have Tanzania and Angola also listed. Okay, let me just go over through some of them quickly. Human rights Tanzania are marked by various challenges, including freedom of expression. The government has been criticized for cracking down on dissent, including arbitrary arrest of opposition members, journalists, and activists. The amended Media Services Act has further restricted media freedom, leading to concerns about censorship and repression of free speech. Gender inequality, gender-based violence remains prevalent, with significant issues surrounding domestic abuses, forced marriages, and female genital mutilation. Indigenous rights. The Maasai communities have forced relocations from their ancestral lands for conservation and development projects, leading to protests and internal condemnation. LGBTI rights. There has been a rise in anti-LGBTI sentiment with calls for punitive measures against same-sex relations. The government has enacted policies that further marginalize LGBTI individuals, including a ban on educational materials related to these issues. Health rights. Stigmatization and individuals living with HIV/AIDS persists, exacerbated by laws that criminalize transmission, that has led to discrimination against women, who are often blamed for the spread of the virus. And Angola has also faced significant human rights challenges, including political repression. The government has been criticized for suppressing dissent and limiting political freedoms. Critics of the government, including activists, journalists, face harassment, arrests, and intimidation. Freedom of assembly. Authorities have frequently banned public protests and gatherings, particularly those organized by opposition groups. This has raised concerns about the right to peaceful assembly and expression. Corruption and governance. Widespread corruption undermines governance and the rule of law, impacting citizens' rights to fair treatment and access to justice. The lack of accountability for government officials exacerbates human rights abuses. Social and economic rights. Many Angolans face poverty and lack of access to basic services such as health care and education. Economic inequalities persist, with wealth concentrated among small elites, while the majority of the population struggle to meet the basic needs. Anyway, okay, that was it for now. Thank you to everybody who was watching us live right about now. Dr. Clarence is the name. TV7 Live is the channel. As always, thank you for watching. And I'm signing out.